All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. We're ready now. I'd like to welcome everybody. Happy May. It's been an eventful couple of months since we last saw each other, and a little visit from the King and Queen. So a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement. What was that? My kids are back there. So apologize already. And I figured you heard it. Yeah. You don't need to apologize. Their timing was just perfect. Exactly. Okay, we have a full house, so we definitely have quorum. And our first order of business is the approval of the minutes from March 9th. Everybody's had a chance to look at that. Motion to approve the minutes as submitted. I second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Our minutes. Don't have any we have a child citizen in the room. Oh, geez. That's hard to. No citizens in the room, so we'll move right over that agenda item. And President's time. This is just been an eventful year. Yeah, I'm very glad that we're in the place that we are and ready to go forward. So much on the plate that we'll just move on to Aaron and our library director's report.
All right. So, of course, like most months, March and April was very busy for us. We had one fundraiser each in each of those months, so I won't go into too much too detail with them because we have our development report. But they were huge successes. We had the Scottish Ceilidh, which that was the first time we've ever done one. Wasn't sure what to expect, but it was a blast. It went over very well. A lot of good feedback from it. We'll get into for the other things, how much we made for it. And then Taste for Books was just this past couple weeks, and it was phenomenal. We blew it out of the park. We've hit ballpark numbers. So thank you all who attended and who helped with it. It was a lot of fun. You might have seen some of the decorations that we had up, Animal Kingdom themed. So a big shout out to all of our staff and volunteers who put that together because it was a lot. They did a fantastic job. Let's do. Yes. And then we've done multiple outreach events the past 2 months. One of the bigger ones that we did was the Lanterns to Liberty, which was the first of the 250th events for Warren County. And it was a blast. I think it was a great first event that we've done. And it was at the Heritage Society. They had multiple things going on throughout the day. We were there to do colonial games and crafts. So people got to learn how to use old style quills, which was pretty fun. Get good ink though. It does stay in your hands. And they also did Sons of the American Revolution were there, and they did a flag retirement ceremony, which there's a lot involved in that I did not know of. So that was a pretty cool experience. They will be doing it again at the Freedom Flows Festival, which is the second event, which we will also be at. That's going to be May 30th at Easton Park. It's about from 10 to 6 p.m. All about the river. We're going to have tons of more hands-on games there, as well as we're going to do a duck race down the river, which is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, and we a lot of engagement with people. And if you haven't checked it out yet, we are doing a reading challenge for the 250th. America 250 Reads. So you just go on like our summer reading and our winter reading programs. And if you register, you get a commemorative 250 rubber duck. It's pretty cool. And it's going on for the entire year, unlike our other reading challenges, which is usually only two months or so. And at the end, if you've done everything, you get a 250 or Warren County 250 commemorative challenge coin, which you haven't seen those. They're very well done. I'm really glad the county's able to do those. And we're also looking at some other prizes as well. It is a bingo challenge, unlike our other ones. So you don't have to do everything that we have available for it. But as long as you get bingo on your card, you get to win the coin. And then I'm happy to report, so you may have seen our social media posts and press release. Our development coordinator, Amy Hayes, has won a Staff Member of the Year award from the Virginia Public Library Directors Association, which was very well. She definitely deserved that. We also got 2 other awards as well, one for outstanding program for all ages, and that was our SammyCon event that we do every year, as well as public relations effort and the creation of the New Chapter News that we have to keep everybody updated on what's going on. That's a Substack account. For facility, thank you for helping us coordinate that, Cheryl. We've got the jail coming out to help with doing the lawn maintenance, and that has been a very huge help. They've been coming every week, doing a pretty decent job. So we are very, we are very pleased that they were able to come out and help us with that. It helps keep our costs down. And then we also had a amazing volunteer who owns a property management business and approached us in helping us get our vinyl floors rebuffed and waxed. They were amazing, and we would not have been able to do that without their help, because that is a lot more costly than you think. So you may have noticed some of them floors here are a lot more shinier than they were previously. For uses and services, doing pretty good. April stats were unavailable at the time. For most stats, we were either increased or right on par with FY25. Still traffic count was a little bit down in March, but 3% overall for FY25. And of course, volunteer hours, database use in our programming has always been pretty high, and we're trying to keep that up. Programming highlights. March and April, we had a mix of educational, workforce, and creative offerings, which is pretty standard. We have a lot of our ongoing programs. Some of our biggest one, the job fair, we're actually having the Warren County, several things. The Warren County Resource Fair is actually going to be, from now on, they meet here, and that's been going very, very well. And then we have our job fair that we're doing with Virginia Works that has been seeing increased participation, which is great. And then for youth programming, we did a kids version of the Scottish Ceilidh that did fantastic. It was a huge draw for kids and adults. We're hoping maybe we can eventually do that again this coming year. And then we have a partnership with River State Park for going back and forth at the park, and then here for kids programming that is doing very well. And a lot of 250th style programs, including a anniversary picture quilt that the kids got to make and then showcase their work, as well as a couple of recycled craft programs and a forest thief land program. That was pretty cool. And a lot more that I'm not going to get into, otherwise I'm going to be talking for like an hour. So, but pictures, you can see that we did have one from the Lanterns to Liberty, as well as a big, nice photo that we try and do every year for staff or taste for books. And kids could. Any questions?
Questions for Erin? Okay, thank you. Busy place as usual. Over to Finance Committee, or we can shop.
Okay, and where are we going to start? We want to look at finance. We are continuing to meet monthly. We will continue to do that. Last meeting, which was just last week, we are moving 150,000 from the donor emergency fund into our operating fund. Got some, Silver Tea's coming up, kind of race to the finish. If you want to look at our financials, I think that's the big takeaways from there. We will be changing and we talked about this, we'll talk about this more in June, but we will be changing changing our banner. I believe we have that click for the funding on the main page. So that'll be discussed more at our meeting. But again, we will meet again in June. I think we have another meeting, and we'll stay monthly, June 3rd. So we will continue to meet monthly. And looking at our financials, targeted right now for 10 months is 83.33%. You can see if you look on page, I don't think there's a page number. It is page. Yeah. The April, one of three, sorry. We're at 75.4% of our total income. A lot of this is just timing. So, well, if there's any questions on that. And then again, being at 83 points, looking at that 83.33%, we're at 80% of our expenses if you look at the last page there. There'll be some questions on that, but that's where our financials are. Balances, our endowment fund is at 1.145 million. Our donor emergency fund is down to 113,000. So that's our donor emergency. So these are our kind of what we can spend between now and the end of the year. So we will be coming through, the edge of our teeth there. 113,000 for the donor emergency fund, and our operating fund is 176,000. Again, those are the two, and the reserve is 69,000. So those are really the three main funds that we will be operating off of the next 2 months. So those three funds will be our payroll and everything else we need to get through for the end of the year. Mellon is 132,296. And the Mellon CD is 78,492. Again, that's very restricted from the Mellon Foundation. And then our Huber Fund is 72, restricted fund 72,473. Community Foundation Library Fund is 8,017. And then the Community Foundation Endowment Fund is $8,023, of which only 288 of that is spendable. So any questions on that? I know I threw out a lot of numbers. I know.
Just to be real clear, the 150,000 that was moved to operating, this 176.
That includes
it.
that. That includes that. Yeah, we were down to 30,000.
Okay.
We were down to 30,000 in our operating. And when you think about the operating fund, that's what Eileen uses to make payroll.
Everything.
And so that was a needed move.
So is the Silver Tea kind of like we're hoping on that's our Hail Mary to get enough if the supervisors pay come July by the time that clears?
We're hoping between so basically what we need, the need on July, we think we have enough to get through the end of the month of June. The issue is, or the question is, we have to make payroll in July.
Right, and we got
So
to
it's the
request and get
yeah. So the critical point is when we will get funding in July. So that's kind of where we're going to be coming in,
Which is state,
which is state funding as well.
because they're still not concrete.
Nothing's cut yet.
Yeah, being able to get state aid is contingent on whether the state budget gets passed and all that.
All these funding, and all these fundings. So we're not, we probably won't take anything off the website until our county funding's not approved. It's not finalized or approved or any. It's not. It has been approved.
Budgets.
Okay. So yeah. So
Is there a contingency plan in case we are coming down to the wire? Because we're not going to meet again until July.
yes. So
You want to segue into development?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Let's not get into development
All right.
because we do have yes.
All right. So I can answer some of those questions for development activity.
Yeah.
The development, the good news is with Taste for Books, we brought in about $40,000. We never brought in that much before. We raised our ticket prices 50%, and we weren't sure what was going to happen with turnout, right, when we raised the price. But what we experienced was
Nobody squawked on it.
nobody squawked. Very few people balked at buying tickets, and people were happy to pay more. It's the best party in town, and it's the most fun night of all. And it was just an incredible event all around. A lot of, yeah, I think silent auction contributed over $14,000. So that was really good. But as you heard from Michelle, we're on a glide path to finish the year, just barely getting through. And so the concern has been over July. How do we keep operations going through July. And the Silver Tea it's not really a fundraising event. It's a networking event. But last year we brought in Melody a few $1,000s of donations directly that day. But more importantly, we're building long-term relationships that are going to pay off for us with the Silver Tea. But this year, the Silver Tea is going to be June 14th. It's a Sunday. And we're going to kick off the race to the finish that day, which will be a horse race theme raffle. We're still working some of the details out on that. And so the message that we're going to be delivering at Silver Tea to those major supporters that are invited to that event is there's still much of a need. And that we've got just a few weeks to finish out the fiscal year because we need to get into the next year with money in the bank and some momentum moving forward. So that's part of the plan. We also have, and we'll talk about this more a little bit later, but we were approached by an anonymous donor with a significant possible donation. We're still working that would provide two things. One would be, and we'll get into this later. One would be additional funding for operations into July. They could be a significant amount that would help us with that. So we're confident that with our cash flow, with the way that Eileen and Aaron have been managing our expenditures, that we have enough to get through July, but it's just barely. It's going to be spending down what we have. And that's why we need to continue doing fundraising. And the message we should be sending to the community is even through next year, our budget is $1.5 million. The county funding is $1,024,000. The state aid is about $250,000. You can do the math and see that there's a shortfall there that has to be made up through fundraising. And so the fundraising activities are going to continue. We have to be continuous in that. So we're going to continue that through May and June of this year, and then when we get into the next fiscal year, come August, we really have to evaluate what our fundraising efforts are going to be for the next year. We can't expect at the same level that we had last year, but we need to have a good plan, and we have to evaluate what worked. What we want to do differently next year. One thing we talked about was the Kaylee. It was a lot of fun and it worked. We have to decide if we want to do that again. We have had a lot of back-to-back fundraising activities that have put a lot of pressure on the staff too, because they have to do the work for all these events. And as you saw with Taste for Books, that was a monumental effort to get ready for it and then to clean up and be ready for normal business on Monday after that huge party.
And remember, we do have in our budget to take 3% from the endowment interest. So we could do that.
Oh, we intend to have our person know and it'd be ready to go July 1.
So we do have that, I don't know if we usually do that. I don't know if we usually do that July 1.
No, this year. They takes about a couple.
Yeah, but we will probably do that. That'll probably be a July 1.
Just small draw from Chan Foundation if necessary.
If necessary. So we do have, yeah. So that I think was 228. Yeah. So 288. Sorry. So we do have some, but the 3%, I think it would really help with that first pay. It's just that first payroll that we really need to make sure we get through. I think after that first payroll, I think we'll get county fund. I think that county funding will come in and the state aid will come in. Hopefully once state, so that'll get us into a good position. But it's that first.
If we carry a balance of 50 to 75,000 over into July, we should be fine.
Yeah.
Things are still shaking out.
That's for pretty good.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the Silver Teak's gonna look like, you know. So it's still ongoing.
And the development committee has a meeting this Wednesday, 5 o'clock. Anybody that wants to come in and join us, please do.
Mhm.
No, that's what my notes say.
No, I accidentally had the wrong one. I apologize.
It wouldn't be,
Oh,
it wouldn't be,
That was the last one.
okay.
I'll be sending out an update. I apologize.
we get to go Wednesday night.
Just say, I got vetoed in.
Yeah.
Any other questions on finance? Our next meeting, yeah, June 3rd at 5 o'clock.
At 5:30 here.
It should be, we switched it to, for that, yep.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Sorry.
That's why, again, I will send out an update for all
Yeah.
the meetings.
Side of
Last minute things.
So I do appreciate you putting that there.
Yeah.
It's gotta get
It's very useful.
5:30, you never know.
Any practice for anybody? Scott? Just a note on Silver Tea, we're going to be having a hat. So it's a race to the finish. So it's on the theme of getting us to the finish line. And so it's about horses, and we're going to have a hat contest. So we're going to ask everybody to come in their fancy dress and fancy hats, and have some derby gear, yo. There we go. Yeah.
Right.
Excited now. I bought a hat. Now I just have to decorate it. And then Eileen's gonna work on a little trivia game, and we're working on a speaker. So it should be a lot of fun. Of course, food is always good at these events. We know how to throw a party. So mark June 14th down in your calendar, and it's a Sunday. So it'll be a nice little Sunday afternoon event. Yes. It's good food and sun wax.
Are people dressing up in the horse race outfits for like the little horse?
Like they do around, the downtown.
They do.
And it is men and women, not just,
Yes.
it is men and women, not just
Men and women.
women.
And then the meeting is in youth, right? The development committee meetings.
Okay.
Okay. We good? Are you good, Scott? All right. All right, over to committee on trust. Wait, I missed strategic planning. Joan.
You've got a copy in your packet of the latest, and what I'm hoping is the final version of the strategic plan to carry us into next fiscal year. I'd like to open up the meeting for any comments that anybody might have about the strategic plan. I tried to highlight so you could tell what the changes were, but you've seen most of the changes already, you know, in previous versions, in previous meetings. So if you have any thoughts that you want to share tonight, that would be great. If not, I'm interested in seeing the strategic plan move forward and be approved.
Do we want to go ahead and vote on it tonight, or were we going to vote on it in July? Refresh my memory.
We went back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah, obviously, this is not final form.
Right.
I mean, it's not pretty, and Aaron will make it pretty.
So if you want to wait, we can wait till July. If you're ready to go ahead with the language.
I would request that we wait. I had sent Joan some feedback, and she was gonna incorporate those things, I think, according to their last email. But they're not in this version that the board has.
Aaron and I went back and forth with email. My email, I have bright speed. Do I need to say anything more?
Still
I mean,
It is.
I brought my copy because I didn't trust the email. And my copy certainly reflects your changes. And it should have reflected what's in the package should have reflected, but it was like a nightmare. My email still isn't working.
Let's ask Erin to go ahead and make it pretty and include Karen's changes and send it out to the board for vote in July then.
And I'll try to send it to you again, Erin, so that you can change it.
Or you can walk it in. You're here twice a week, so.
Joan, did we as a committee look over those changes?
Karen's.
Karen's, yeah. I'm thinking that we're gonna look at it as a group and vote on it.
Okay.
A couple of them were very small.
Yeah.
There were a few suggestions for additional objectives in some sections. So I don't know how you want it.
Are you gonna have a June meeting?
Yeah.
Why don't you have a June meeting? We'll finalize it all and then send it out ahead of time and we'll be ready to vote in July.
Okay, I'll try to send it out to the committee. We'll see if that works.
Okay, so bring it on in and we can help. Is that good with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else for you, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Now we'll move over to Celeste and Committee on Trustees.
Okay, so you have the resume and the application of two different people. Yeah. Just because of confidentiality, if you have questions, please just use a first initial because we've got a K and a B, so we can keep it separated that way. But the Committee on Trustees is comfortable with both of these people. We feel they could bring a lot to the board. And basically, if you have any concerns, you have until our next meeting to bring them forward. And we can address those and, if necessary, withdraw names, but typically that hasn't happened in the past, but you know.
Have the supervisors recommended any of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a question. I know we strive to have a balance across all of the magisterial districts. You have in terms of the breakout of where we stand with that now and what this would look like with these two candidates added in?
So South River is still our least represented district, with you being the lone representative of that area. Madeline and I are both the ones going off, and one of the two is coming in is Fork, and we're both Fork. So, and that's our most heavily represented area. So we're getting a 2-for-1 trade on that. The other one who's coming on is Shenandoah, which I'm not sure if General Hopgood was Shenandoah or North River.
Yeah, Shenandoah. I'm Shenandoah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, for the most part, we have a good representation, except that we're over in Fork and under on South River. But we just didn't have anybody from South River apply at this point. But Melody tells me that we do have a lead.
But we've got three positions that we could potentially fill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is just two, so there's still opportunity.
Right.
If we have another application, then
We have another potential candidate that we're going to reach out to that's South River. Need Trustees and they do asking because I was just texting somebody about that. If you have another one, that's fine because we can do interviews. When they ask you, yeah, I'll give you that name for about the same person. Maybe.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
Committees first. And what committees do you see that we need? Like, do we have committees that we need people for?
Well, our big concern on the Committee on Trustees, quite honestly, has been the officers, the executive committee, because there's a lot of people who are serving on the board right now who are not, either don't have the time or have personal things going on that don't allow them to serve on the executive committee and put that amount of time in, or that they're just uncomfortable being that high up in the leadership roles. Obviously, if you're on this board, you're already sort of a leader. So one of the things that we did like about both of these individuals is they both have leadership experience. They both have nonprofit experience. They're both willing to move into leadership roles. And aside from that, Tay is willing to do any of it and could potentially do any of it. He's got enough of a varied background. Done enough in his lifetime to basically handle any committee that we do. And then B was specifically interested in the strategic plan, but we have traditionally assigned people where we needed them, as opposed to, I mean, we do take into consideration where you want to serve, but we also have no problem going outside the box and saying, will you serve on this other committee?
One of these people says that they've not served on a nonprofit before. Was that a mistake, or we'll talk about it later?
So he says that, but he's also, well, maybe he hasn't served in a leadership position, but he's been involved in nonprofits.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about then. I understand.
And he certainly has served in command and staff positions in the military, so it's not that he has had leadership roles.
Right.
So.
And well acquainted with nonprofit for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
Another nonprofit.
Exactly.
Maybe we need to change those questions later for next year to be more accommodating than for situations like that. Maybe. But that could be talked about another time.
That's something that the next committee on trustees did. And your person will have to do it.
And are you planning one more meeting?
If we have another application to consider and we do, and then, or more than that, then we certainly would have another meeting. At this point, with 3 slots and 2 people that we're all comfortable with, at this point, I don't.
I would like to see a dialogue so we can finalize the committees and what they look like.
Yes.
Who's going to be chair, what committees are going to assign.
Well, officers, we're good on. This proposed, now I'm going to say this is the proposed slate of officers. There is still time to change between now and July. In discussing this, the committee takes a lot into consideration. We know that we know the personal situation and professional situation of a lot of individuals. We know the backgrounds of a lot of you, but that doesn't mean we necessarily know that you would be willing to put other things aside in order to be on the executive committee. But we certainly would hope to keep some people in place.
I'm not getting fired. Hey. Kidding.
And we have discussed Scott moving up to the president role. The committee believes that Kate would be a good vice president and Karen would be a good secretary. And then Melody, I think we've discussed that before of having you serve a member at large just to keep that knowledge base to the executive committee. So that's at present what the committee is planning on. If you would like to serve, if you'd like to nominate somebody for a role, please speak to me afterwards, because we can certainly put that forward at the July meeting for a vote.
And then we can do committee assignments and for July. Okay. I'm handing it over. I'd like all the ducks in the row.
So would I.
Sure. That's which, Scott, if you have a preference about any committee chairs or committee members.
Well,
and it would be a good time for us to talk before.
at present, I'm chairing the development committee, so that's going to be
That
one
would-
that will need to change.
Yeah.
And then I'm also the building maintenance committee, if per se, and the representative at the monthly county meetings. So I work with Eileen and with Cheryl to understand what the issues are for building maintenance, and they're the brains. They're dealing with the day-to-day issues, but I'm there to ask questions and then to help represent to the county. So that would also, that's where we would like to get. And Gene, I think you've been beginning to get involved in that. We're copying you, but if you could step into that liaison role with the county, that would be really good. Because having that constant presence at the table with all the county staff once a month it's a good opportunity for us to build relationships, and the FaceTime there is, I think, really important.
We can discuss that.
Okay. Any other questions for Celeste? All right. Which brings it right back to you for building committee, Scott.
I always hate to say anything, but not we haven't big disasters as we already heard. The work with the regional jail, having the grass cut and the grounds maintained is working out really well. It doesn't cost us anything. Yeah, so that's it.
I hate the boarding bond.
Yeah, I mean that was a great solution and saves us money, which is always a good thing.
Yes.
Good for them. And we've had some major HVAC work done. It seems to be holding right now. Again, I hate to bring it up, but it seems to be working well. But with an old system, we should expect that that's going to be an ongoing issue and something to look forward to next year and the year after. At some point, we're going to get end of lifetime on our current system.
And it's a lot I can use.
We need to be planning for that.
How much is that to replace?
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Millions and millions.
Huge.
Is it one base system or
What he wants I set out, I haven't gotten him here to do it yet. Even to do the segment and systems. So that you can have fail safe. One fails, doesn't mean also.
Right.
It makes a lot, such as.
Yeah.
And it would be more energy efficient.
And then also we had scheduled a roof inspection that got postponed, rescheduled. We're working with Barry, who's doing a countywide assessment of county-owned building roofs, and we want to be included in that as they look at all the roofs across the county, this one too, so that we're not a one-off. But that's also another thing that, this roof is 15 years old. It may not seem like that's all that old, but it's had a lot of issues. It's patched several times. And so we need to find out what the life expectancy is and anticipate a major, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars on a roof. So those are things that we'll have to coordinate and discuss with the county as we get information, and ideally stay ahead of it so that we don't have a disaster where we don't have choices but have to do something right away.
correct? About the lights in the parking lot, are they holding up or since they've been fixed?
We have a volunteer who is, as they fail, he's changing them to
LEDs?
LEDs.
Okay.
We just paid for the supplies.
Oh, wow.
We have some amazing people that helped us. The floors, they'll make you can appreciate how much better they look. They're easier to keep clean. we went and got a quote from the people we had used for maintenance for years. And it came in at over $7,000 just to do the vinyl. This guy did it for under $800.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. So,
You just had to pay for supplies.
Jeez.
You just had to pay for supplies.
pretty much. Did you pay for stuff? I don't even.
I mean, this, what I gave you basically.
Yeah, it was negligible. Mitchell helped him. And our janitor helped. And they did it on a Sunday, so there was no interruption in service. Our volunteers are kind of really out. So you'll have volunteers at every chance we get.
Yeah.
Okay, are we good on the building? Any other questions about that? All right, we'll move along and turn it over to Fossil.
All right. So with Fossil, we are currently, as of our last meeting last week, sitting at 359 active members.
Yay!
89 of which is auto reoccurring through Get Butter. We do have a new board member as secretary, and that is Molly Gentry. Our big stuff coming up is, of course, our programs that we're trying to do. We actually have a hiking series. We're working in conjunction with the library and AT, Appalachian Trails, doing a hiking series. So this Wednesday, we have an author coming in talking about their book. We also have another one in June talking about a book. And then we have 2 other programs where we have someone come in who's going to actually explain how to hike and take people through her pack and exactly the kind of details of what else there. And then we have another program where they're going to talk about doing assisted hiking. So she herself used to do overnight up the trails, right? But because of medical reasons can no longer do that. So she switched to her significant other follows with a trailer. So she's still doing all the day hikes, but then she gets to go to the trailer at night. So it's what is, I guess, called assisted hiking or something along those lines. But she walks through that whole process as well. And I believe they're actually going to bring their trailer for everyone to look at during that event too, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This Saturday, we do have our origami. Those of you who need to come, I know that
We have noticed
we're
the
interested. We've got some of the cranes out in the hallway. Kind of excited about that. Beyond that, we do have. Sorry, I'm trying to look at what was on here that's not just us assisting the library with their events because I don't want to double talk. Sam, of course, we've got stuff planned for that. So that's pretty far out though. So, but the most immediate is this Wednesday we have an author talk, and this Saturday we have origami, and then the how to hike is June 24th with the next meeting, and then the flipping the tables is the one where she switched from overnight to that, and that is July 8th. Everything else is after the next meeting, so I always mention them then.
David, can you let everybody know when the book sale is going to be? Since there's a change this year.
There is a change this year for the book sale. It is November 12th to the 16th. I'm going to double check that is actually, because I write the dates down for what we're volunteering. The 12th is the start of the sale. So that Thursday night is going to be the members' night.
Okay.
And then the 16th is the name your price day, the next Monday.
So if you've got your calendars out, if you want to put that on there, the Fossil's always looking for volunteers to help with unboxing, reboxing.
And that is actually the 10th through the 17th. So if you look at the volunteer days,
Yeah.
it stretches a bit.
It's a whole week's worth of activities. So a lot of us have done it in years past, but if you have time, even a short shift, a couple hours, just checking people out and
we always
send out a request for, and we'll have, shift times and things, and I can always send that out to I always send out the normal volunteer list to Lori anyway, and it can always be forwarded to you guys as well if you would like that.
September meeting that we're here is probably, then we won't see you till November meeting in this group. So if we get details in September, or at least a rough idea of what we're, remind us all again.
Of course.
Okay.
And I can always briefly mention each time too.
Yeah.
Before we leave Fussell,
Yeah.
as we approach the end of the year, kudos to you all for all of the fun you've put into the library in the past year. You've helped us raise to a finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Pass that on to the whole crew. So
Please.
couldn't do it without you. So we're so grateful for Fossil. Anything else on Fossil? Any other questions for Nyoka? Okay. I'll turn it over to Cheryl and see what's happening in our lovely county.
The budget is done. It was passed. Taxes were set. So all of that is done for this year, as painful as that was. And I do appreciate everything the library is doing with their tourism. I've invited the rest of the board of supervisors to attend the meeting because for the first time, at least since I've been on the board of supervisors, tourism is actually working and working well as collaboration, and started out with just a couple of us, and it's grown and grown, and I hope it continues to grow with people like the library getting involved in the community. So I do appreciate it. It's been a lot of work, but I think it's been a lot of fun too.
Yeah, definitely.
And looking forward to all the other things. With the mowing, I'm glad they're able to do it, but I just want everyone to understand it hinges on having the workforce to do it. And there's a lot of criteria they have to meet in order to be part of the mowing crew. So sometimes we're blessed like we are now, and then sometimes we're at the feast part. Sometimes there's a fathom with that. So I told Scott not to do away with your person that has been doing it, kind of keep them in the loop a little bit, because we just never know. But hopefully it's the groups are able to keep active. Hate to say this group because that means they're incarcerated, and we hope they get out at some point. I think they do an awesome job, and this group in particular seems to be really taking pride in what they do. I can see it, in the areas that they down here. Yeah, looks good. So I did, excuse me, been out in my garden a lot, so the pollen's getting to me. I sent an email to Dr. Martin when I first got here about meeting with you to go over where we are getting the MOU and all that settled.
Okay.
So I asked him if he was available this Thursday, and he said yes, and he's free after 1:30. So if the two of you are free after 1:30, pretty weird. Scott?
Let me check real quick.
Let's get in this. We'll let him know if we'll get him free. Right.
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, then I'll let him know.
Yeah.
So that's one thing off, and unless you have any questions or want me to look into anything.
No, I think that was probably the question on our mind was, that's the next step and the next thing we need to accomplish.
Yes, and I'm glad to settle your minds and mine.
Yes, we'll all be happy about that.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. Any other news for us? So did you get to shake the?
Oh, I forgot about that. The royal event. Well, I forget about it.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing. I got the email, and I saw the email, But Todd Jones does this little thing where he sends emails out to catch you to see if you open up everything without really paying attention. So if it comes in a quarantine, unless it's an email, somebody's name or something, or I'll ask him, is this okay to open? No. This thing came through and it said the British Embassy. And I thought, I don't know anybody that's British. I said, go on, don't touch that thing. It's a trap. So the mayor and I were in a meeting and she said, asked me, it was the day of the election for the amendment change. And I had been in Browntown all day, no reception, dull and bright, nothing up there. So she asked me, she said, have you seen your emails? And I'm like, yeah. You've seen all your emails today. And I said, well, not since 3:00 because I was in Browntown in the morning, went to Skyline, then went back to Browntown. I said, so no, not since 3, I was in Browntown from 3 on. And I said, she goes, no, you would have got this yesterday. And I said, well, then I saw all my emails. Yeah. She goes, let me see your emails. So I've never seen that one. I said, heck no. And that's it hurts. And that was my invitation. So, of course, I'm like, this is a joke, right? The king and queen of England are coming to. Right. Sure enough, as we all know, they did. Yeah. And I've seen posts, and, I understand, I've never seen so many people up and down Main Street, and I've lived here my entire life. And there was I've seen the comments of, I stood in line for 7 hours and I didn't see anything but a hand. But it was the experience. And I can tell you, I was in what was called the elite area by a lot of people. And if I hadn't pushed myself out of my comfort zone and hauled myself up in front of the Secret Service, which I thought was getting ready to get me arrested, I wouldn't have seen him either.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so much newspaper people around him and security around them that I honestly, and I had a hat. My husband had ordered the Virginia 250 memorable hats. And Tony Carter called me the night before and asked me if I knew what the Queen's favorite flower was. And I said, no. What, no. The last time I talked to her, really got it now, folks, for all of it. If not, no. Okay. And he goes, I've ordered some if they let me through with them. And of course, my comment to him was, boy, you're a suck up. And it hit me, are we supposed to give them something? I don't know. I didn't even know I was going to get close enough to be bothered with that.
Yeah.
And
Well, at least you didn't have your flag upside down.
I don't even know at that point if I can, So as I'm going out that morning, I look and there's these hats that Steve had ordered. And I was like, I'm taking him a hat. I grabbed up my hat. And then I raided Jane's challenge coins in the office. And I thought, okay, I'll give him these. And if I get close enough. So I passed it with the British Embassy. I said, am I good with this? And they were like, sure, he'll just give it to his aide. And so I'm within this amount of room from him and I'm holding this up. And this little Secret Service woman looks at me and goes, don't even think about handing him that hat. And I'm like, she's done. Okay. So as he's shaking my hand, I'm shaking his hand and holding the hat with his hand. And we said a few words and I said, I have this hat for you, but I don't know if I'm allowed to give it to you. And he goes, oh, I like hats. And he looked at it and he goes, that's a nice hat. I'll take that hat. I never even turned around. I thought, sorry, honey. You want to have. I never even looked her way. I thought, I asked later, I said something about it later, and somebody said, oh, she was the one that was very strict. I was like, that's why I didn't turn around and look at her. I did get to shake his hand. Good. I'm sure the hat challenge got thrown in a box somewhere with the hundreds of thousands of other things that he got. They had it, but never in my life thought I would. Oh, I know.
Well, Aaron and Akeem and I were all in the silver section, but we didn't get, I don't, unless you did, we didn't get close enough to get a handshake.
When he walked down to the see the sheep,
Sheep.
yeah, he was shaking hands.
Yeah. Did you get a handshake?
No, I let Janet get a handshake.
I believe we got a gentleman actually were there. He got out of the car and went to the.
I thought that was
He did it, and yeah, and so it was great to do that. Oh,
Yeah.
And unexpected.
And everywhere they drove, he rolled down the window and waved to people.
Yeah.
There were people that were posting that they weren't even part of it.
Right.
The motorcade went by and he rolled down his window and waved.
Well, there were some people too that said, yeah, they sat in line for, over 5 hours, and they only saw the hand, but worth it.
Worth it. You're in the room on the day that
I was teaching
I think
online
the
class.
one that the only person that said anything to me about being disappointed that they hadn't got invited or anything was Zach Henderson, our clerk. And of course, I've known Zach since he was in kindergarten, and it bothered me because I was just like a withdrawal, and then Sheriff Klein said to me the night before, she said, I've got a couple of tickets. I don't know how she got them. She goes, do you know anybody that you would like to give a ticket to? And so I was able, with her tickets, to get Zach in.
Yay.
He got to shake the king's hand. That's great. Yeah. He is so, he's got pictures. Somebody took a picture. He is, so that, I think that made me even more happy than personally shaken because he was so bummed about it. Of all people, I didn't think he would care one way or the other. Yeah, you never know, do you? But yeah, what an experience. And Louis, I like your idea of somehow annually commemorating that. That would be kind of cool thing to do.
I got signatures. It's over 50.
And the chair, did you get the chair too?
I sent a email over to Lori telling her she should try and grab that chair and put it up somewhere. It's just people might want to come and sit in the chair of the king. I don't even know if the king and queen sat in them, but
They didn't sit down they didn't sit down, and I didn't see them eat anything either.
when it was fit enough for a king and queen, it's fit enough for me.
Yeah. All right, but thank you. I forgot about that. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Okay, we have a closed session that's going to be very quick, I promise. But we do need to stop the. First, we'll do the motion to go into closed session. Whoever's got that. I move the Board of Trustees go into executive session in accordance with the Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3711A.1 for the purpose of discussions regarding employee compensation. Thank you. All in favor?
Second.
Our second, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Okay, welcome back. And we'll turn it over to Lori here to make a motion.
I move that the board certifies to the best of each member's knowledge that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under section 2.2-3711A.1 of the Code of Virginia, and only such public business matters were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened, were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the public body.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. And I believe we have a motion coming out of the closed session.
I have a motion.
Okay.
I move that the board direct the finance committee to execute a potential restricted donation if and when it arrives in concert with the library director and the director of operations regarding employee compensation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Good.
She needed it. I don't think, we're good, but you're, okay. You've got all the tips. All right, thank you, everyone. I don't know if we have any old business. Now's the time. Anything you'd like to bring up? Or just any new business?
Add on to the Committee on Trustees, the next meeting is June 23rd. That's what we had scheduled originally.
Okay.
It wasn't on the notes because we weren't sure we were going to need it, but since we do need it, it's June 23rd
And 23rd.
at 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Celeste. Okay, if there's no new business, then our next meeting will be in July. Wow, July 13th? Because of what, July 4th? No, because it's just, that's the second Monday? Wow, it feels late in the month. Okay, so it's late as it could be, I guess so. Oh, all right, thank you, everyone. Our meeting is adjourned.